Friday afternoon. It's Friday. So all those Monday to Fridays, you're just about finished. Well, not long. You would have had a lunch break and you're just about ready to wind it down for Friday. We had some fantastic people in for an interview, didn't we? I hope you heard it. It was sound healing. Very interesting. Something I've never heard before, and I think I will look into it a little bit further. But now, by the way, we're on Facebook Live, so wave, everybody, wave. I've got Josh Hall with me right now. Josh, I was interested for you to come in, Josh, because I'm aware that you do men's mental health. And to me, mental health for men is extremely important because men, from my opinion, don't talk mental. You can't hear anything.
No.
Anything at all.
It's when you move the microphone. I can hear my own voice now.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No.
Oh, that's strange. Hopefully everyone else can hear me. No one's checking on it. But, hang on. Let me turn this up. Can you hear me now?
No.
No, nothing. Anyway, hopefully everyone else can hear me. You should be able to. Anyway, so yeah, Josh, let's just keep going until someone says they can't.
Not a problem.
You can't hear me at all.
I can hear you, but not through the headphones. But I can hear myself.
That's a bit strange. All right, hopefully this is working. So let's go again. We're talking about men's mental health, and to me that's an extremely important area because I've had men in my life who have unfortunately suicided because they were ex-military and you were a man and you didn't show emotion, you didn't speak about emotions, you didn't speak about feelings, toughen up princess type thing, which obviously was not the correct way to go because, devastating.
One of the worst sayings you could, and one man can say to another, or is man up.
Yeah, man up. Absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us how you started, why you started it, and tell us a little about what you're doing.
Okay. Well, I guess my mental health journey probably started way back when I was like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
My parents separated and I was the eldest of three.
Okay.
Now this is not to put, the onus on my parents or my family.
Mm-hmm.
They've done, and I've come to the understanding that they've done the best
that they possibly can.
could with the tools that they had.
Yes.
But in that time, like I had, many suicidal thoughts.
Okay.
And living on a 7-acre property, like it was like, you know what, I could just grab a rope, go to a tree, and she's done.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't have the strength to put that pain on my family, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of work over the years. Like, my parents had me go to, therapy.
Yeah.
I learned pretty quick that I could just tell them whatever I wanted to get out of the session quicker.
Yes.
And not actually deal with the problem.
Correct.
And over the years, I've had lots of other male role models and mentors that have had a different outlook on life than what, like, let's say my father did.
Yeah. So
things would get spoken about differently in different settings. I guess I've probably seeked out, older males to be role models. Because at the end of the, we isolate ourselves. We get so stuck in the 9-to-5 work grind, that provider role, that we don't stop to consider ourselves.
That's right.
We see it as being selfish. We can't think of ourselves because it's selfish. It's, oh no, I've got to do this for them. I've got to provide that for them. But you can't help someone else. You can't fill someone else's cup if yours is bone dry.
I'm just learning that. Yeah, I'm just learning that.
Yeah, and it's something that's taken me a while. Like there are times when I'll go out and do things that, I love kayak fishing, and I've done a fair bit of that in the last few months. But there are still some days where like I'll hit the water and I'm like, I should be at home. I could be doing something there. But
there's always something else to do.
Yeah, and there's always something else to do. So I guess over, that leaving high school, and I was that kid that would sit in the corner and I'd have, music in the headphones and I'd be sitting there on my own. And one song that I would listen to a lot, it was Fade to Black by Metallica. And
I love Metallica.
And like that song, like when you're feeling down and you're just listening to this, you know, a song that was written in a depressive state anyway, it just compounds that depression.
That's right.
And I just sort of, you know, tried to hide under the radar, just do the.
I find that with Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is my depressive. It really can bring you down.
Yeah. And, you know, music is great. Like the one song, you know, in two different mindsets or different mental like areas, like you can listen to one song and if you're happy, it can make you happier.
Correct.
But that same song, if you're sad, can make you the miserable person around.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like I've just, especially, well, you know, I did all that, and I was a chef, so I was working long hours. I got into lots of work. I got into lots of less than legal, I guess, ways of coping with my own mental state and the hours.
Yeah.
And you know, it masked what was going on.
We're very good at that. We're very good at masking.
Yeah, you know, like I could be in a room full of people and just be alone.
Yep.
You know, as long as I could hide behind, let's say, a beer or more, you know, I'd be like, okay, cool. I've got this between me and them.
That's right. Yeah, that's so
then
right.
I feel safe.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
But I could be, you know, a room of 50 people.
Yeah. And
just be 1,000 miles away and feel totally alone and out of my depth.
Yep.
And then, you know, at the age of 25. I met a wonderful lady. It was one of those, I guess, movie type meet cute things.
Okay.
I was the best man at a wedding. She was the head
supervisor
of the function center.
There is movies about that.
Yes, I know, and that's sort of one thing that I've always thought about. It's very much a movie thing, this thing. But you know, we corresponded, we spoke, and then you know, she's now my wife. We've been together 13 years.
Wow.
We've got 2 kids.
That's awesome.
And it's in having those 2 kids that I was like, I'm not dumping my problems on them. I need to be able to teach my son that, you know, that there's strength in vulnerability, that you can, when something's affecting you, if something's, you know, ruining your day, then if you can talk about it, then, you know, more often than not, the moment you speak about something,
you feel better anyway.
Yeah, because once you get it out of your head and you get it out there, it's no longer in your mind. Brilliant. It's no longer in your body. It's out there in the ether, and you're just like, oh, and then you can sort of see the problem. It
becomes clearer rather than muddled.
And then if you're still sort of muddled and you've told someone, then they can throw their sort of 2 cents in, I guess.
That's right.
And you can work through it, and
So you're talking about teaching your son that, right? Are you finding school systems changing in that they're showing the boys, I should say, that it's okay to show emotions, or are they still saying tough it up, toughen up? Is that changing in any way?
I know. So within the school that my kids go to, there is a fathering project.
Oh, right.
Branch or group. So it's, you know, it's the idea of getting men into the schools to be there
as mentors,
as mentors, and to do things with their kids, to be involved in the school life.
Right.
Because again, for so long, it's been Dad, you go to work, Mum, you take the kids.
That's right.
And that's just sort of where it stops.
Yep.
And so I was in a few different sort of groups. I was on the outer edge of that one for a little while, and then I realized that what they're doing aligns with what I want to do, and it aligns with, and over the last 3 or 4 years, it's just been stepping stones into the spot where I am now.
Yep. Okay, great.
So, you know, I've done a lot of reading, I've done a lot of soul searching, you know, and it's all about just getting comfortable within yourself and just knowing
fill your cup. Fill your cup.
Yeah, you've got to, exactly. So you've got to fill your cup before, and you want to fill it to a spot where it's, you know, you want to be able to overflow, so that way you can fill someone else. I love
that thought, yeah.
Oh, it's a great one. Yeah. And it's just been something that's been coming up a lot with a lot of, like, you know, different podcasts that I listen to and books that I've read. And yeah, it's just, I don't want my kids to be burdened with my problems, but I also don't want my kids to be burdened with their own problems. Okay. I want them to be able to reach out and
So you're breaking a cycle as such?
I'm trying to break a cycle.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
it's a hard cycle to break because for so long, and the more I speak to people and the more I sort of understand this, is that we are missing a boyhood to manhood rite of passage.
Because some cultures do that, right? They do. The Jewish do their I don't even know what they're called. Sorry.
Oh, the bristle. No, that's no.
You know what I'm. You guys out there will know. I'm sorry. No disrespect.
It's
in any
right.
way.
It's right onto my tongue.
I know. And I think even in the Aboriginal they have a ceremony. In tribal countries they have ceremonies for boys. So, did we ever do that though? Have we ever done that?
I think we have. There must have been. Like, I just think we were more connected as a community, before, like, say, the industrial age, where everything was earn a wage, earn money, go to a job type thing.
Yep.
But just as we get through this technological age, it's just we can sit here in a room. I don't know, we're sitting here in a room, but we're at least connecting. But you can sit in a room, look at a screen, and I was watching a video or something the other day, and it's like you can sit there in a room and you're never going to be unsafe. Like, there's no challenge. We can sit here and use the smart devices to have
get
food.
Our phone delivered. Yeah,
you can have everything delivered to you. You can sit on a couch. You can watch a screen.
And there are people that live that. They do live that.
I know,
and never talk to someone face to face.
Yeah, and for some people, I understand that's they've got things that have gone on in their life that they need to cope. That's how they cope and survive, and that's fine.
Totally fine. Yeah.
But it's the average everyday other person who could get up and walk around the block.
Yeah.
And
it's eye contact too. Like, for example, just walking around the block, seeing. So I know I do it. If I see someone walking towards me, I will say hello.
Yeah.
There's so many people that won't respond, or they'll put their eyes down or put their head down. It's really sad.
Yeah. My kids always, like, I'll be going through the shops or whatever, or train stations, and you'll say, "Oh, hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Do you know them?"
I'm
like,
know?
"No."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I don't know them." No. I've had plenty of conversations, good conversations with people that
strangers
I've only met for 2 minutes, and we've gone separate ways.
Yeah.
But we connected, we've had a conversation, and then that was the end of it. But so many people.
But hang on, that might not have been the end of it, because that might have been the best conversation you've ever had,
or
the best conversation they needed, at that moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
so you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It could change either of your perception for the day, or your day, or your week, or
you never know how your words are going to affect someone else.
No.
Like, you might just say it, and I do this with another Facebook group that I'm in, the Beards of Perth. It's we a lot of us have long beards, but it's not so much about the beard anymore. No. It's more about supporting men's mental health. It's about having someone there, and it's almost 1,000 members strong.
Wow.
But I make it a point, and I've said this to them. Like, I'm going through the list, and I've got a little note that I've written out where it's just like, "Hey, brother, just letting you know I'm here.
Yep.
You're a legend. Never forget that. Hope you're doing well."
Yep.
And the amount of people that have gone, "Hey, man, yeah, thanks, cool. I'm doing good. It's great."
Yeah.
But I've had a dozen where they're just like, "Man, I needed to hear that today."
Exactly. It doesn't take much.
No.
And I'm just like, even.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Wow. What's up?"
It took you seconds.
And exactly. And I'm just starting that conversation. And that's just sort of where I think as men we can be better.
Yeah.
We can just start that conversation.
Yeah.
And
that's starting, even saying, hope you're okay. I'm here if you need me, type thing. They can either respond to that. If they don't need it, that's fine. But if they needed something to start that conversation, then it can flow. Then they can say, "Okay, this guy will listen. I'm going to tell him my problems."
Yeah.
And that's all it takes.
And my Facebook inbox is full of those conversations.
Wow. I love that.
And some people are. It's as simple as, I'm doing well.
Fine.
I'm okay. And I'm like, cool, man. I'm so glad. But there are people out there if you need it. And others are like, "Oh man, like I got into the car and my car blew up and my dog died my favorite undies got burnt in the laundry or something." And you're like, "Dude, man, that sucks, but hey,
tomorrow's a new day."
Exactly. And it's just starting that conversation with people, really.
I agree.
Because
I really agree.
Too often we sit there in our own thoughts, in our own head, thinking the world's against us.
Yep.
When it's not.
Yeah.
And if you sit there watching, mainstream media and news, you'll see, death, destruction.
Yeah, I don't watch any mainstream media or radio, at all. News, radio, I should say.
Yeah. I try to stay away from mainstream media and news because it's just there for fear and
Yep. I agree. I've got my own life I need to live.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me. I know it's a selfish way of looking at it, but I don't need to know what's happening in the other parts of the world. If it's not going to affect me directly, which maybe it will, but there's nothing I can do about it anyway, I really don't need to know on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I know I started, a while ago, I'd start my day, I'd put on the morning news, like, okay, cool, there's a timer there and I'll watch it. And then after a while I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Don't need this.
It helped with my mental health because I used to always watch it in the mornings and it was just so depressing. So I decided, no, I'm going to cut this completely. And it would have been probably at least 3 or 4 years ago now. I completely cut it out. So I don't have much of a conversation when it comes to world news because I know nothing about what's going on. I have no clue about whatsoever. And I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that.
I would watch that, that morning news, and then you'd walk out the front door and be like, no, it's not burning down around me.
You know what I hate? I hate people will say, I wonder what the weather's like, or let Google tell us what the weather's like. You know what? Go outside, look out the window, open the door.
It's funny. You say that because me and my wife sort of have that discussion every now and again. She'll be like, I wonder what the weather's going to be like today. And I'll be like, and as a person who's like, I'm a gardener full time. So I'm like, well, I guess when I walk out the door, I'm going to find out.
Yeah, you can't change it. It is what it is.
But
I find that bizarre, and we all do it. We all do it. I wonder what the weather's going to be like. And then you'd be looking at the radar, thinking, it's going to rain at 2 o'clock, or it's going to rain at 3, and then you'd get all your stuff done before 3, and it doesn't rain anyway.
Yeah, and there's a handful of jobs that you can do where you can be wrong.
Yeah,
a large percentage of the time and keep your job. Yeah, Weatherman has got to be at the top.
That's true. Absolutely, that's true. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I think we rely too much on technology to survive. I think that's sad. I think, obviously people listening now to technology on the radio and watching us on Facebook, but
there are good sides to it.
There are good sides to it. Like for me, Facebook, for me, I found people that I would never have found, in my past, from my past, and some are good, some are not. But I found them and they're back in my life and family, for example. But there are also very negative things on there, and I think there's probably more negative than positive for me at the moment. And you sort of think, oh, should I switch it off? But
the negativity and the fear, it sells.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm talking about people. They keyboard warriors, as they call them.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so much easier to jump on Facebook and have a different name and tear shreds out of someone.
It's disgusting.
For nothing.
One word can ruin someone's life.
Yeah.
I was bullied all through my schooling years, so it has affected me as an adult. So one negative word that you will give someone today can literally affect their life.
Yeah.
Please be careful what comes out of your mouth. Think about it before you say it. You might think it, just don't say it, because it can really break someone down. It really can.
Yeah, and and I know it's probably violence is never the option anyway. But I think with this whole keyboard warrior mentality we have now, people are getting too comfortable saying whatever it is they want to say, attacking someone, and having no repercussions from it. It's like they can just switch off and go. But that person they directed it to, it could affect them, like you said, it could affect them for life.
There's a repercussion. I don't think there's repercussions for anything in this generation that they do. I mean, we could go into this, quite extensively. It just continues on. But, hitting a child, smacking a child's bottom, where it used to happen to us as children, there's nothing wrong with us. You can't do that now. There's so many things out there that it's just changed.
People are just too happy to tell everyone what they shouldn't be doing.
They shouldn't be doing. Yeah, exactly. Not how wonderful you've been today, or what a great job you've done on the radio today. It's, you shouldn't have said that, or why'd you do that for, or what'd you wear that for? For crying out loud, But I had a great show.
Yeah, and that's
you know what I mean.
It just seems to be easy.
Much.
It seems to be easy to be negative.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, we should want to uplift
everyone, empower everybody,
and bring them.
Yeah.
Along with us. Support where we can support.
I don't find that though. I find people are very happy to knock you down.
Yeah.
They feel power from it. That's the sad part. They're narcissists. Is that correct?
It's probably quite a heavy tendency that they've got. Yeah. I don't know if they feel power from it. I
don't know.
But because I'm not that kind of person.
No,
I'm not.
So I don't know. But
yeah. But it just seems like it's too easy to be like, type away, negative, and be like, cool, and then they just walk away.
Yeah.
But they're obviously lacking something in their own life as well.
And the best way to respond to these people is to not respond.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Because they hate that. They need a response.
If you ignore it, it goes away.
Totally ignore it. Yeah, and that's the best way to cope with it.
Yeah.
But still, whatever they've said has really still affected that person, though. But yeah, don't give them any response whatsoever. But yeah, really be really careful how you talk to people, because it really can knock them down, and could be the last word you ever say to this person. Just remember that this could be a life changing thing, and negatively, unfortunately. So yeah, so it's amazing. But I absolutely love what you're doing, and I'm actually noticing a lot more men's groups coming out at the moment, which is fantastic, because it definitely needs to be out there. Women, I don't know, I think as a woman myself, I don't like being in with a group of women. I prefer to be with a group of blokes. I just feel more comfortable that way. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable in a women's environment. But, yeah. So I don't know whether I'd open up in a group of women. I
think, like, culturally, it's more acceptable for women to get together, talk about what's bothering them, and then move on,
Yeah, true.
Whereas for men, we don't really, unless it's like for the footy or the pub, and even then the conversations are surface level.
Exactly.
There's how's work? What's the weather been doing?
Yeah. That's the difference.
Input local or international sports team.
Yeah.
And the conversation is very top level. It's never, hey.
It's just
like,
top
how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, we don't dig in.
How are you really doing?
Yeah.
Not how, because I've got my T-shirt and it says, "Are you okay?" But and then I will say, "But how are you really?" Because they'll go, "Oh, okay." You've instant responses. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay.
As men, we've got, and I've learned this. We've got two responses that we've fought, and everyone does this. I'm good. I'm fine.
Yep.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Yep.
And that's it.
No, I always then say, "Yeah, but how are you really?" If I know there's something not right.
And that's where, I'm trying to have, I know I've got a few groups that I do it, and, I just try and, have conversation with people and just break that sort of culture of,
that's great.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's brilliant. And I think it's really important. And I think community, we need to get back into the community spirit because we are very isolated. We isolate ourselves. We're loners these days. And that's not good for us with our mental health. We need to be
social
around other
media
people.
has, and in the, I'm trying to think of how long it's been. How long have I had a phone for? Since I was about 17, I'm going on 38 now. So 20 years' time, I've seen phones go from being,
this
something.
Big.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they were that big to begin with, and then they got smaller and smaller. And then, we could put the internet on them, and all of a sudden they started getting bigger again.
God. Yeah, amazing.
But everyone's world is encapsulated in that device.
I was talking to my dad yesterday. My dad's nearly 80, and of course he has a mobile phone, but he was saying that he never uses his phone to call anybody. It's always Facebook, eBay, whatever he's doing on social media. He said we hardly ever talk anymore. He said I never actually call anyone on my phone. So it's not really called a telephone anymore.
No.
It's a bloody computer in your hand.
Yeah, and that's why kids go, why is it called a phone? Like my kids go, why do you call it a phone? I'm like, well, because I can ring people. They're like, oh, but they use it to play games.
That was what it was only for.
That was the original purpose.
That was the original purpose of it, was for communication. Yeah,
and now,
strange.
And now we're using it for everything else except communication.
Except communication, you're right. Now, give us a plug on what your business is, please. Okay.
So I was going to sort of swing back around to this when you said the words empowering. So I've got a Facebook page. I'm a certified life coach, and I've got a page called Empowered Fathering.
Oh, brilliant.
And there's a little tagline on it that just says, shedding the shackles of the past. And I use a Viking sort of shield there because, and I've looked into it, and it's all it's all about connectiveness and all that. But I look back over history, and even people like the Vikings were still, they weren't just work, home,
No, family,
repeat.
very family.
It was very
oriented,
family, very,
friends,
very village.
all together.
Yeah, and they were into, poetry and they were
music.
they were probably some of the original rappers. They called it flighting, but it was very much just like spoken word poetry.
Spoken word, yeah.
But as much as they went to fight and went to war, they were also very much
their
home
time after war was very much family and friends.
Yeah.
It was a community. You never saw them separated on their own in their own houses. I think they all ate together.
Yeah. That's why they had the big tables. And this is another sort of analogy that I've been listening to and it resonates with me is men have this lone wolf persona that I can go about it alone.
Yeah.
Now, out in the wild, in packs, the lone wolf is either sick and dying.
That's right.
Or has been cast out.
That's right.
There is no strength.
That's right.
In the lone wolf.
No.
The strength is within the pack.
Yeah.
So at Empowered Fathering, I'm here to have conversations with men and to bring it to the forefront that we can speak about what's bothering us without it being
judged,
weak.
Yeah, or weak. Yeah.
I truly find I feel that there's a strength in vulnerability.
100%.
If you can sit there and say to someone, "Hey, you know what? I'm actually struggling."
I think that's sexy as because people just aren't like that. They'll hide behind their emotions. But if you can actually say, how courageous is that to be able to speak how you're feeling? That's very courageous and very strong.
And it's a tough, I guess it's a tough sort of facade to break down. Like it's been built up for so many years.
Yep.
Men don't talk.
It has to change.
It does
change.
Because, like, I'm just gonna use the Beards of Perth again as a thing because, 1,000 people in there.
Yeah,
we talk about it,
doing right. Yeah.
But every so often we still get, "Hey guys, keep this guy in your thoughts. He took his own life last night."
Shit. Yeah.
And I just think if I can help one man,
I agree.
If I can help one person, to just get out of their own way, get out of their own head, and deal with a problem that's probably been swirling around there for hours, days, months, then it's something.
Absolutely.
It's doing
absolutely.
It's pushing the needle the right way.
This is why I do the radio, because I'm very passionate about mental health awareness, and if I can change one person's thought ever, even if it's just one person ever in my life that I can change, that's one person that I've helped. Do you know what I mean? I just want to be able to, with awareness, I need to help people, because then people need to be aware that yes, there is mental health issues out there. Most of us have it, but there are ways of dealing with it, and outside the box sometimes it can be the best way.
And I've found that I've actually gone through 2 courses, or the same course twice, to get certified as a life coach and to be taught and shown these techniques where I can help people go back through their past, find, a root cause of an issue, try to learn the lessons at a subconscious level, and then come back and, hopefully try to, I was on antidepressants for 5 years. I was as a chef, I was working 12 an hour days. It was an intense place. There were some times when I was mid-job that I was like slapping myself in the face because I was like, dude, you need to cut it out. Like something's not right. So, I went and got myself diagnosed, but the medical industry just go like, oh, you say you've got depression.
Here's a tablet.
There's a script and off you go and you're done with it.
This is the reason I have people coming in like before you, we had sound healing. There's got to be something else. I've been on medication for 25 years. There's got to be something else. That's mainstream. Here's your tablet.
Yeah.
I've got to be able to help myself in some other way.
Yes.
So I'm researching different options for that now.
I was watching a video and it said, when you have a headache, you take an aspirin. The aspirin is just covering the symptoms.
It's just a Band-Aid, yeah.
It's not, you didn't have an aspirin deficiency. No. And I heard that and I was like, I had a bit of a laugh and I'm like, yeah. You're just, and it's the same with, and I know there are people who are, they've got bigger problems than I ever have.
Course, yeah.
So it's not my thing is not a one size fits all.
No,
it's
of
a
course
case by
not.
case basis.
Absolutely.
But I just find that medication, like antidepressants, they seem to think that it's a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Oh, here, you take this.
I agree.
And
yeah.
oh, you don't like that one, or that you didn't like the symptoms.
else.
Oh, here, have this one. But
Oh, no.
they're not attacking
the problem.
The problem, the root of the problem.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm so glad that I went through this neurotransformational therapy courses, because I was able to realize things like I'm not my thoughts, that they are just there. I'm not my feelings. And everyone out there, like, if I was to say to you, don't think of a pink elephant.
You would think of a pink elephant.
You think of a pink elephant. Does that make you a pink elephant? No. It's just
see, it's amazing. Yeah. Just think outside the box. We could spend hours talking about this because it is
it's a massive issue, and it's become quite a passion of mine.
Huge, and I'm getting definitely for me too, and I really appreciate you coming in today. So it's empowering fathers,
empowered fathering,
and that's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yep.
We're happy for anyone to sort of reach out, share it if you find it, and share it with someone.
On my page. Yeah.
But even the listeners, like if they find it, they can share it. You never know who's in your circle.
Exactly.
Who's struggling.
It's a ripple effect. That one notification that you sent to one person will float everywhere. It'll just ripple out.
Yeah.
And
it's that thing that, guys have been told for so long, oh, it's weak to show emotion, don't cry, harden up, man up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That we've just gotten so used to being stone-faced and, like I said before, everything's fine, everything's good.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to start that conversation with men, and I want other men to and I'm like, I can't serve every man.
No, you need to have it rippled.
Yeah. Like I can't serve every man out there, and I can't fix everyone's problem. So I know that the men's mental health sort of awareness space is growing, and it's so good.
Yeah.
There are, people, 50 people going away on a retreat, and sitting around and doing all that. And it's not all about, like tears and sobbing and tissues and all that. Like, don't get me wrong. It can be that.
Yeah.
And it was like the other night, my wife took a photo of my son, like he was laying on me, and she's like, oh, I'll just take a photo because you never know how many chances we're going to get of this again. And I'd just been through 3 days of neurotransformation therapy. Like I was like, bang, and I sat there in that thought, and like the tears just started rolling, and I was just like enjoying the moment.
Yeah,
because I was like, I was like, you know what? It's probably not going to be the last time, but it could be a handful left. And, it's so often we never know, like when the last time we're going to hang out with someone or, and being the fact it's my boy, like he's going to go through school and it's going to be like, oh, we don't cry, we don't do this. He's not going to want that sort of same physical relationship that like my daughter is going to have.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm going to try and hold on to that for as long as possible.
Yeah, good for you.
And like my wife's looking at me, she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, but what you said hit me like a sledgehammer.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was just, I wasn't like, outwardly noisy. It was just the tears were just rolling because I was just like,
and they're the best tears, the ones that physically roll and drip from your chin.
And it was just such a precious moment. Yeah. And, I didn't feel any less of a man because of it.
No, gosh, no.
I was just like,
you wouldn't have minded if there was 50 people watching you do that at the same time.
I'm going to, like, and all of a sudden, like I'm sitting here telling your audience this, I'm getting like the photo off my wife and we'll be using it as a post. Yeah. It's going out because she's like, oh, I won't put it on Facebook. Emotion. And I'm just like,
no, do it.
And I sat there and I was just like,
it doesn't show weakness at all.
I will be sharing it because this is just, it's some vulnerability that other dads need
100%,
to just
100%.
Other dads need to check themselves. Your kid might walk out of your door tomorrow and then come back in being told by the world that you don't hug, and he may never hug you again.
Wow.
And, like I know, and that stigma's sort of in there with, boys and their dads. But like I know with mums it's a little different. Like I still hug my mum.
Yeah.
And I'm 38.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my sons, they hug dad and, my husband and my brother does with my dad. Yeah. We hug.
Yeah. No, and it's I just see, a lot of like, I don't know, somewhere it's just been like, it's a handshake and you're done. And it's like,
no. That's not communicating, is it? No. That's not communicating. It's not from the heart. We need to stop there, Josh. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I really appreciate you coming in. It's been great. If you ever want to come back, you've got my contact, and we can talk about this for hours and hours, because this is what I love. This is what I love. I want people to listen to what this sort of stuff. So we have to cut it there, and it's been great. And definitely mental health awareness is very important and needs to be out there and listened and be active.
We're stronger together.
Yeah, we are stronger together. We're definitely stronger together.
We need to stop blokes, man, and just anyone committing suicide.
Anybody.
And if it's one conversation, then I'm happy to start it.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Let's go with Thunderstruck with AC/DC.
Yo, let's.